Hey guys, this is Chase. Got another project video for you guys today. We're going to be making a raised dog feeder. Keep those dog bowls up off the ground, make it easier for your dog to eat. This is a really nice design, really cool design that somebody shared with me from Pinterest. It doesn't take any glue or any screws. All you need is a piece of lumber, like I have here, a 2x12. You need some stain, and then you need some black pipe for the legs. So here I'm cutting the board to size using this really cool antique saw I found that did not work at all. I was kind of disappointed because I found it and it was cool looking. I was excited about it, and it wound up not working, which was a bummer. But I moved past it, got over it, and instead just took the piece over to the miter saw and finished my cut I made on there. I wound up making the top of my feeder, it was a 1x12, so I guess it was 11.5 by 2 feet, which worked out being a very nice size. I would recommend doing that if you make the same design. Next step is to cut the holes, or drill out the holes that the legs will go through. What I do first is I take my combination square, set it to 1.5 inches, and then go around marking on each corner off both sides, making a nice little mark 1.5 inches away from every corner. That way, I know exactly where to drill the holes for all 4 of my black pipe legs I'm going to put through later. I'm using here a 3/4 inch paddle bit, which wound up being a little bit small. I would recommend if you do this, just go straight to a 7/8 inch bit, because that's what I had to bore it out with later. And what I wound up doing was I didn't go all the way through my board. I just went enough through to where the tip of the paddle bit came through the other side. That way I didn't get blowout. Then I flipped it over and finished going all the way, the rest of the way through on the back side. And this worked really well. Once I was done with that, I was ready to mark where the holes for the bowls will go. First, I took and I drew a center mark, divided the piece right in half, so I would have 2 sections to work with when I was making my measurements. And don't worry about making big pencil lines like this, because we'll sand them all off later. Then I took a level, where you can use any sort of straight edge, and using a trick I saw somewhere on YouTube, I don't remember exactly from who, I made center marks by going from each angle diagonally, as you can see here. And this works really well. I use this trick quite a bit. It's very convenient, makes it really easy to find center. And so just do that on each section. You'll have 2 good evenly spaced center marks for when we make the dog bowl holes later. Next, what I do is I take a screw and drill it into the center of each of those center marks. We'll use this to help us when we draw the center marks. And then after I'm done with this, I get my ruler, and I knew the radius of the openings for the dog bowls. I think it was 3.5 inches, and went ahead and made 4 guidelines to draw to on each of the sides there. Next, I use a string. I put a loop on one end and hook the loop on the screw, and then wrap my pencil around the other side of the string. So this allows me to draw a circle, just staying on that nice center mark. This can be kind of tricky because the string will try to wrap or unwrap from your pencil, making the distance from the center greater or smaller. So you just need to make sure you keep your wrap the same as you're going all the way around, and just follow the guide marks we made earlier, so that way you'll get a nice clean circle we can use when we cut out the openings for the bowls. Next, I use a paddle bit, and that same trick of not going all the way through and finishing off on the other side. I did this so I'd have entry points for my jigsaw blade when I cut them out in a moment. This next step is pretty self-explanatory. Just go ahead, grab a jigsaw, and cut out those openings. pick up the top. It's wedged. It's wedged underneath the feeder. You need to pick. There you go. There you go. He's good. He's good. Next step after that, go ahead and just sand the thing down. I think I went from 150 down to either 220 or 320. Either way, got a real nice finish on it. Got rid of those pencil marks, got the inside of the holes there. Got it all smooth. And next, before we stain, because this is construction lumber and it's real soft, we need to use some pre-stain conditioner. That way we'll get even coverage and the stain will absorb into the wood the same all the way around instead of it being splotchy. And once that's done, I apply a coat of this gray stain, kind of trying to replicate the weathered barnwood look. It was my first time working with a stain of this color like this. It was kind of weird. It was almost kind of like the consistency of a paint. So it took a little bit of learning there, but eventually I got it, and it wound up looking real nice when it was all done and dried. After this had dried for a little while, I put a coat of polyurethane on it, but my polyurethane, I don't think it was good. I think it had been sitting too long on the shelf. It had gotten real old, so I kind of sanded it down after it had dried, and instead used a couple coats of wipe-on poly, as you can see here. This is just to guard against dog slobber, water spills, whatever else, just to keep the feeder looking nice. And also just a little tip when you're doing finishing like this, I did my back side first, and then as you can see, flipped it over. That way, if the back of the stain I just did, or if the back of the finish got a little bit smudged by setting it on the blocks I did, it's just on the back. You're not going to ruin the finish that's on the top of your project here. So just a little tip to do the back first. I found that works very well. Next, here are the material, the pipe I'm going to use for the legs. Went ahead and cleaned these up with some mineral spirits because they kind of have some grease or something kind of grimy on them, so I wanted to get that all off and get them nice and cleaned up. I like working with black pipe, all except for the price. It's pretty expensive in all honesty, but it's real easy to work with and it looks really cool, so from that aspect I do enjoy working with it. Here I'm just assembling the legs I'm going to use. I use a coupling for the foot and then a coupling with a 1-inch connection to go through the feeder, and then I'll use a cap to hold it on there. And what's kind of cool is you can, if the feeder wobbled or wasn't level, the floor wasn't level, you can kind of use the couplings on the bottom like a screw leg and straighten it up and make it level, which I thought was kind of a nifty byproduct of this design. Next, I go ahead and I attach the legs. It's really simple. Just put them through the leg holes we drilled earlier, and then grab the 4 caps. And I found that just hand tightening them worked fine. They were real sturdy, held on there real good. So all in all, it was a really fun build. It's not difficult. I think anybody with just some basic DIY knowledge could do this. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the project. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Got more projects, more content coming soon. We're going to be moving into our new shop soon. It's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to make some videos for the move-in. So please check back for more videos, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.